Oh, hello, you're here. Excellent. Glad you could join me. Now, we're here to look at the Mog, perhaps the last time, because the Mog is finished. I've drawn a line under it, and today is Monday. I finished it on Saturday, just gone, and she's been out for a run yesterday, Sunday morning. That video will be coming up at the end of this week, so if you're watching this in 6 or 7 days time, well, check out the run video, please do. It's already up live, and you'll see how our first run went. Now, I'm happy to report, I'll give you a scoop on that. It went fine. Nothing broke, nothing snapped off. I haven't lost anything that I've found yet. That I've seen yet. She didn't roll over. I didn't put her on its backside or on its roof. So, in that sense, the run was a success. I was very pleased with how it performed. So, without further ado, let me just put a couple of clips up so you guys can get in. You don't have to hang around and wait until Saturday for this. You can get in and have a look at it now. So, a couple of clips of it running. Hope you enjoy. Cue the VT. Alright, so I hope you agree with me that I think she looks pretty fine out on the trails. I think the suspension is pretty good. I'm like 95% happy with the suspension, the G-made 100mm XD shocks. I've got medium standard springs in the front and soft springs in the back. You will remember I tried the Charisma springs and so on, they're far too soft. I'm going to basically order some hard springs, two hards per pair of hard springs, which I will put on the front. I will try on the front and move the mediums to the back, so each corner gets a little bit of a firmness upgrade, just to see what difference it makes. It's a fairly easy thing to change out, so for £6, I'm going to have to wait a while for them. I think they're out of stock in this country, but for £6 I'll give it a try and just see what difference it makes. I like how it sits and kind of sags, and I like that, and I like how it runs on our terrain. It does pitch a little bit in the turns, as you would expect the full thing probably will do. The one-to-one would probably do as well. It is quite a heavy shell, obviously, so that's to be expected. But if this when this goes to Wales, as it will be going, I'm going to want to try and make sure that I can maybe just support it a little bit more, as it will be doing more pitching and climbing and dismounting from tall things, rocks, mountains, and yeah, so I just wanted to see whether I could maybe stop the wheel compressing fully so much, etc. So I'm very happy with the whole rig. I'm very happy with how it all came together. So let's get the camera in close, and you can see, I think last video we left this, it wasn't weathered, so it was pristine paint front and back. So, or maybe I'd done the front, maybe I'd done the carb. I think I'd done the carb, hadn't I? But I hadn't done the box. So we'll have a look at the box, because I've weathered it quite heavily, so you should be able to see, and we'll talk a little bit about what I did. Alright, so what we have, 4 main paints I've used on this. Well, there's a couple others, but these are the best 2 examples of the type I've used. First of all, the AK Interactive Enamel finishing paints. They are, I would refer to them all as washes. By that I mean they're a very thin, deliberately thin, lightweight, almost transparent coating. This is the only one truly called a wash, and this is the one I would run into any nook and cranny, so it puts a dark shade in to emphasize the shadow idea. From there I've got a filter, which is a strange old name, but what the filter does, and I talked about this on the Hummer video as well, what that is you paint it all over and it leaves a kind of dust, a brown, because this is a brown one for NATO camouflage, and it leaves a kind of brown dusty finish on things. And the last one to talk about from AK is this rain wash. The light grey areas that you can see are that. So what I do is I paint them on, and I paint them on vertically usually, up and down, so I get more of a streaky type effect. And it's quite good because I was very cynical, I just assumed it was a thin paint, but it really isn't. The pigment, unless you're really heavy with it, most of the pigment will stay in the streak that you've put. It won't just run down into a big kind of paint-filled lump at the bottom where gravity's pulled everything down. When it dries, and you take a fair bit of it off again with the t-shirt idea, you do get some really nice, I'm not sure whether it really looks like rain marks, that's probably my application of it. I think I did a better, more convincing job, I should say, on the Hummer. But for this, I just quite like the kind of, it's again part of the aging, kind of making the thing look old again, where it's just lightened up the green, effectively. Some of my other rigs have been done with using artists' acrylics. So those are enamels, remember the AK is enamels. This is an acrylic, so it's water-based. And what I do with this is a very dark green. There is a brown, I've got a sort of ochre colour that goes with it. And I put those two together so I don't get too much of one colour. I put that on all over, let it dry, and then I rub it off. You have to be careful because if it dries for too long, it can be a nightmare to get off. I have also added a tiny little bit of AK Interactive Rust Wash, which is a really kind of gingery colour. Can't use a lot of it because it's quite bright and a bit kind of scary. I will say I put that on before I did the main wash. This bottom hinge here, can you see this? That had some of the rust wash on, you can see the bright ginger, and then the filter, the brown filter's gone on top of everything, so it's just dulled it down and blended it in a little bit. But you can still kind of make out there's a little tiny bit of rust going on there. What I did want to try and do with this truck is to make a very strong statement about the difference between the cab and the box. So the cab does have its streaks and marks on it, but it doesn't have the same kind of been out in a field for 10 years or whatever, you know, the story of this ambulance box, yeah? So, there's a little rundown of the weathering and what I've used to produce this, whether you like it or not, I don't know. A few things have changed at the back. First of all, the mud flaps have been moved. Oh, blimey, this bit fell off. Bit of Hartford there for you, leaving the stage. The bit of Hartford's fell off, but yeah, the mud flaps were on the back of the rear wheel arches. They were on here. But I've moved them since because I felt that maybe they'd get trapped again and they would get dragged under. Remember the front ones had the same problem, but I've put a bit of Lexan in to fix that. Now, with these, I put them, I noticed there were some mounting holes underneath the tail lights. So I figured, I know what, I'll put them in there. It hides the, you know, it uses the holes that are already there. And then I've put some reflective, you know, kind of hazard tape, I guess, I don't know. But I've got a whole bunch of like orange and red chevron decal sticker that I sliced a tiny bit off just to hide the screws and hide the holes. But I think it adds a bit of colour and probably would have some kind of, you know, slow-moving vehicle hazard kind of effect on the back there. So that's all nice. I've got the original tube, the tube bumper that I added on ages ago. In addition to that, the most recent thing I've added to this truck has been this, that maybe you can now notice. Maybe I hadn't noticed it there. Because it kind of blends in nicely, doesn't it? This is a separate bumper that pulls out, he says. You just have to trust me on that. It better pull out because I can't get the shell off with it in place. But it slides into the original mount that I had under there. Again, previous video, you'll see the big ugly plastic mount, chassis brace if you will, that I have in there. And this slides obviously straight in because it's for the Traxxas TRX4, beautiful. And I painted it to fit. Now the point of it is, it does cover up a bit of a gap. So a little bit of the RC-ness of the truck is RC, the RC for remote control. Thank you. I know we're talking about the back of the truck. Don't get rude. So anyway, there you go. So it covers that up, and I've got somewhere to mount a tow hook because I can't put a tow hook on this bottom section where the step is because it's just a sheet of plastic styrene, and the first obstacle the trailer comes to, it'll just snap this whole board off. Tail lights and everything will undoubtedly end up being dragged off the truck. So I had to have something steel, I had to have something that was fixed to the chassis. So with this, it comes with a little square plate that screws on, and then you've got a hitch that can go straight in. So next thing I'm going to be getting is a drop hitch, which hopefully will clear the step and drop down so I can mount the trailer in at this kind of level. So it's going to stick out the back, but obviously if I'm not using it, I'll not have it fitted on. So yeah, to sum up, I do really like this truck. I'm really pleased with it. I did have doubts sometimes as to whether it would work, whether it would stay, the shell would stay on, whether it would stand up to any kind of sensible kind of rough driving, which is the only kind of driving I know because I'm a bit rubbish. Yeah, and it does. So, you know, it's a job done. Hopefully you'll see this out with one of Terry's rigs very shortly, and hopefully, I mean, I'll not be, it's now early December, so I don't think I'll be getting over to Wales until January sometime maybe, so we might get it over there and see how it goes in whatever the Welsh climate for 2022 is going to throw at it. It'll probably end up losing some paint, but you know, can't be too precious about these things, can you? Yes, you can. I might very well turn out to be very precious about it indeed, because I do quite like this truck. I've got to say, something magic about it. Anyway, thank you for watching the series. It's been a long series, and it's been a journey. So, thank you for bearing with me, you loyal guys. You know, without you guys, it wouldn't be you know, it wouldn't be twice as much fun. And I do apologise again for not checking your videos out left and right, because just rubbish at it. But anyway, I mean you all well. So I hope you all have a good Christmas. If I don't catch up with you, actually I will. I'll catch up with you next week. What am I talking about? Next week, because this is finished, next week I'm going to do a proper old-fashioned bench video upstairs in the man cave, and I'm going to be talking about what I'm going to do next, which is not a big project. I'm just going to do lots of little things, which I'll probably make giant. But I've got quite a number of little half-done things I need to sort out. So we're going to talk about them next week, and I will see you all then. Until then, take it easy. Do hit the like and subscribe, please. Do hit the bell. Yes, even those of you who don't know what preload is, please do that. Get on board, and we'll take you into the new year. Alright, thanks for watching. Goodbye. My precious.